Many sports fans and media love to think that some really mediocre rivalries are great. Spoiler alert, they're actually not the least bit interesting. I'm Justin's Fraction, and today we present the top 10 most overrated sports rivalries. At TPS, we post videos every single day, so don't forget to click the subscribe button to subscribe. Then click the notification bell to be notified when we post a new video. Everybody loves a good sports rivalry. Where would the NFL be in the 21st century without Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning? Would baseball even be half as cool without the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees' mutual hatred towards each other? On this list, we go over 10 of these rivalries that we think are way overrated. And a big shout out to Isaac Lugo for suggesting this list. Leave your idea down below. If we see it and we like it, we'll make a video. That's how we work here. Onto the list. San Antonio Spurs and Dallas Mavericks. These two Texas-based teams are one of the NBA's ultimate rivalries for much of the 2000s and early 2010s. Both teams are posting consistent 50-win seasons. They also met in the playoffs 6 times between 2001 and 2014. San Antonio won 4 titles during that span, while the Mavericks got their own championship in 2011. However, the good old rivalry isn't anything special at this point. Dirk Nowitzki is past his prime, and the Spurs completely own this rivalry. Dallas has been awful for a while, and this rivalry isn't cool anymore. Too bad, we miss it. New York Yankees and New York Mets. For some reason, the Major League Baseball schedule makers think that New York fans are thrilled to see the Subway Series every year. In reality, we're not that interested. When's the last time both teams were good at the same time? Take away the Mets' 2015 NL banner, and they've been very mediocre. The Yankees only started to get good again recently, but that's beside the point. It was cool when these two teams met in the 2000 World Series, but that's it. This is barely a rivalry, and the New York media needs to stop trying to sell it to us. We're not buying it. Dallas Cowboys and Washington Redskins. Listen, we understand that these teams both play in the NFC East and are in major markets. So what? Did you know most of America hates the Cowboys? And many despise the Redskins thanks to the selfishness and arrogance of owner Dan Snyder. Dallas and Washington are two very mediocre teams. Neither are perennial playoff squads. They haven't met in the playoffs since 1982. So why is this hyped up to be such a great rivalry? Cleveland Cavaliers and Chicago Bulls. This rivalry really got going in the 80s and 90s when Michael Jordan's Bulls beat them 5 times in the postseason between 88 and 94. Then it died after MJ's retirement. And LeBron James came to Cleveland. The rivalry got good again. Then he left for Miami for 4 years. Then he came back to Cleveland. He and Derrick Rose were supposed to battle for NBA supremacy. But nope, Rose's knees betrayed him and the Bulls began a rebuild. The Cavaliers were the class of the East for a little while, but then LeBron left again for LA. And now these two teams are destined to be Eastern Conference bottom feeders. So yeah, this rivalry is overrated. We enjoyed the fierce tension that briefly existed between the two clubs, but now it's gone. Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. These two golfing legends went toe-to-toe in countless tournaments. Tiger was obviously better, but Phil Mickelson was one of the few golfers who could actually put up a fighting chance against Woods. But Woods hasn't won a major since 2008. He's finally started to resemble his old self again, but now Mickelson's fallen off his game dramatically. And he hasn't won a major since 2013. There's a good chance neither guy wins another major at all. The likes of Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, and Rory McIlroy have taken over. Move over, Tiger and Phil. New England Patriots and New York Jets. This rivalry was relevant when Bill Belichick became head coach of the Jets and resigned a day later to become New England's coach. And yes, these teams met in the 2006 and 2011 NFL playoffs. But so what? Rex Ryan is long gone, and it was his big mouth that made this rivalry good. The Jets are now a laughingstock of the NFL, and the Patriots just mop them up with ease every time. Not really a lot to like in this rivalry anymore, unless you're a Patriots fan. Chicago Cubs and St. Louis Cardinals. The Route 66 rivalry is one of the most historic, but it hasn't been very exciting during the 2010s. The Cubs and Cardinals have met over 2,300 times, and the rivalry traces back to 1892. But so what? They've only met in the playoffs once, back in the 2015 NLDS. The Cubs were awful for over a century. When they won the World Series in 2016, the Cardinals slowly started to become a mediocre team. We know ESPN loves televising this matchup on a lot of national broadcasts. We don't care that much, though. It's always one-sided this time in the Cubs' favor. Boring. Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers. These teams have squared off 12 times in the NBA Finals. The 70s and 80s were dominated by the Lakers and Celtics. Heck, Paul Pierce's squad faced Kobe Bryant's crew in the 2008 and 2010 NBA Finals, with each side taking one title. But the Lakers have been awful for a half a decade now. The Celtics have just started becoming a top-tier team again, but the chances are they won't be meeting the Lakers in the NBA Finals anytime soon. Props to Kobe and Pierce for reviving a rivalry that was stale for 2 decades. It's officially stale again, though. Toronto Maple Leafs and Montreal Canadiens. The rivalry between the Maple Leafs and Canadiens is the oldest in NHL history. It began back in 1917, and it was probably at its peak between 1944 and 79. Between then, these teams met in the playoffs 13 times, with 5 of those meetings coming in the Stanley Cup Finals. But even though the Habs and Leafs rank first and second in Stanley Cup victories, neither has won it all in well over 2 decades. Heck, the Leafs haven't won a cup since 1967. And not only that, but these 2 teams haven't even met in the playoffs since the Habs swept Toronto back in 1979. It seems like these 2 teams haven't both been contenders at the same time in forever. We've had enough of this rivalry for now. Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers. Historically, this is the NFL's most iconic rivalry. The first meeting happened in 1921, and the 2 squads have already met nearly 200 times. But the rivalry is just plain over. The Bears have been miserable for the better part of the last 30 years. The Packers have been a consistent force in the Super Bowl era. They're a model organization thanks to Aaron Rodgers. Between the 2010 and 2017 seasons, Green Bay won 14 of the 16 meetings. How is that a really good rivalry? The Bears may be a better team now that they have a franchise quarterback in Mitch Trubisky and a defensive game-changer in Khalil Mack, but until we see results, we're not flipping out over this rivalry anymore. Which do you think is the most overrated sports rivalry? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.